And good morning, friends. Welcome to the bright side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for joining us. 844-236-6010 is our number. 844-236-6010. If you have questions about all things health and nutrition, comments, success stories you'd like to share, 844-236-6010. If you want to contribute to the conversation, likewise, 844-236-6010 is our number. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to have a very special guest, Dr. Steven Sinatra, who is a cardiologist as well as an entrepreneur. He's got all kinds of formulations, and he's one of the first guys that I started reading when I wanted to understand the energetics of the heart. Dr. Sinatra was the first guy, or one of the first guys, to talk about something called metabolic cardiology. Metabolic cardiology is the idea of the heart being responsive, or the cardiovascular system being responsive, for better or worse, to energetics. In other words, it's all about energy. Now, this is kind of a common idea nowadays in the world of health and nutrition and biology. Metabolics, the metabolic cause of diseases. There's something called metabolic syndrome. Metabolics just simply means the biochemistry of energy, how energy is produced from chemistry. That's what metabolism is. There's two ways that energy is, produced from that energy is produced in the body via metabolism. Energy is either stored in the body or it's broken down in the body. When it's stored in the body, that's called anabolism. When it's broken down in the body, that's called catabolism. Anabolism is is building. Anabolism means building. Anabolism is the end result of energy that's stored in bone or stored in tissues. The body is made up of stored energy. That energy is stored as in a process called anabolism. It's released in a process called catabolism, and that's all life is. Anabolism and catabolism equals metabolism. When we're sick, we're breaking down more. We're releasing energy more than we're storing it. When we're younger, we're storing it. That's all health is. And Dr. Sinatra is one of the early guys to talk about how this relates to heart health. Metabolic cardiology is the idea that you want to give the heart energy to do its work. You want to push energy into the system rather than have it just simply expending energy. If it's expending energy without putting energy in, that's not a good situation. That's what happens as we get older. We break down and we don't put the energy in as effectively. So Dr. Sinatra was one of the early guys to talk about Coenzyme Q10. That's how Coenzyme Q10 works, by the way. It's involved in how the body processes energy, how it makes energy. Really cool little molecule. Anyway, he talks about carnitine, which is another energy transducing or energy supporting nutrient. And we'll talk to Dr. Sinatra at the bottom of the hour. I didn't mean to go off on a ramble there, but energetics is what it's all about. And you're going to hear more and more and more. I've been talking about it. I haven't mentioned it in that way, but when I talk about body breakdown, body buildup, nutrition is just ways that nutrients, we'll say, essential nutrients just facilitate the movement of energy. I know I've said this before. It's like energy has to flow. Just picture a circuit in one of those little computer chips, if you've ever seen anything like that. Energy flows in that circuitry. The way the body is structured, there's gaps in there. In a computer chip, if you have gaps, you can have a short circuit. In the body, the gaps is the same thing. If you have gaps, you have a short circuit, but there's something called essential nutrients. Those essential nutrients that come from food, and there's many of them, and there's probably a lot more than 90, by the way, but we officially say 90. But there's probably zillions. And these things, this is how we're integrated with nature. These things come from plants, mostly. A lot of them, anyway. They come from plants. And even if they come from animals, initially they came from plants, and initially they came from the sun. That's the fundamental source of all of this stuff. Nonetheless, these things we call essential nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids, they fill in the gaps, especially the vitamins. That's really the main role of the vitamins, to fill in the gaps. So when you have nutritional deficiencies, what happens is the energy doesn't flow. That's when we're out of ease. That's when we're fragmented. Health is whole. Health comes from the word whole. When we're diseased, when we're sick, we're fragmented. Things aren't moving in an integrated fashion. And pretty much everything we talk about involves the flow of energetics. And this is very cutting edge health. It's not necessarily cutting-edge science because it involves electromagnetics and quantum physics, things like we've known about for almost a couple hundred years, probably about 150 years actually, that we've started to really understand the electromagnetics, how the electromagnetics work. I'm not talking about electricity, by the way. I'm talking about electromagnetics, which is a little bit different. That's the quantum version of electricity. And we didn't really start to understand how all that worked until pretty recently. And that's the latest biology, is the movement of electricity at that level, at that very, 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 very tiny level. And I personally have been using that in my skincare products, and that's why all Truth products have a certain way of working. They all work to heal the skin. You use very little amounts. All of it because it's working at that electromagnetic level. And we've been talking about fats here for a while, the distinction between fats and water. And really that's where the distinction between fats and water come in. Fats carry or move energy in a different way than water, or water-soluble nutrients. We'll say hydrophilic nutrients and lipophilic nutrients process energy at the very tiniest levels, the quantum levels, the electron levels, differently. And that's what accounts for how you have to handle them differently. That's what accounts for the fact that the water-soluble nutrients, they dissolve in water, act like conductors of energy, while the fatty nutrients act like storage of energy. Conduction versus storage, and the two together, you want to have the two together, ideally. And substances that have the two together, or systems that have the two together, are highly electrical systems. Especially when you have just a touch of the water stuff and a lot of the fatty stuff. The water stuff acts like a spark, and the fatty stuff stores all that energy. It's got to be careful, too, because when you spark energy, if you're not using it or harnessing or capturing that energy, it can be really problematic. That's why you have nutrients that act like scavengers. Those are called antioxidants. Antioxidants scavenge these sparks, these unstable sparks. And by the way, if you're talking about eating vegetable oils, I know a lot of folks are, I'm kind of on the fringes, or what I talk about with oils is in distinction with what a lot of other folks say, and I understand what they're saying. I'm not saying they're wrong. I just think that the oils contain enough good stuff that you don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. What do? You make sure you take them with antioxidants. Antioxidants scavenge and protect against the liberation of these sparks, which are basically just little pieces of quantum energy, basically just electrons, just sparking off. And that's where that's why you want to use vitamin E with your oils. Always make sure you're using vitamin E. Vitamin E is the quintessential antioxidant for fats. There's a lot of them, but that's the quintessential. That's the icon for preventing or protecting against oxidation of fats. Always use vitamin E with your essential fatty acids too, by the way, your ultimate EFAs. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll be back on the bright side right after this. We are back on the bright side. Pharmacist Ben here. 844-236-6010 is our number. And if you have questions about any of the longevity products, health, nutrition, or prescription drugs, we've got Dr. Steven Sinatra coming up at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk metabolic cardiology. And Dr. Sinatra, awesome guy. He's also got websites where he has various products, so he's somewhat of an entrepreneur as well. But I've been reading Dr. Sinatra's work since the early 2000s, and I am very much looking forward to talking to Dr. Steven Sinatra at the bottom of the hour. We'll get your calls this segment if we have calls. There has been all kinds of stuff on Medscape. Medscape is a journal that I subscribe to about, surprise, all the stuff that's going on with the coronavirus. And it is kind of mainstream, but I was reading an article today about why a vaccine won't be a quick fix for COVID-19. This whole idea of vaccination is just crazy. There is no way that a vaccine is good for you. There is no way, especially when it comes to simply inoculating yourself from a mild virus. They don't even tell you. They don't tell you about the adjuvants. Adjuvants are extra poisons they put in the vaccines. Do you know vaccines have things in them that I wouldn't even use in my skincare products? They put them in the vaccine that they inject right into your blood. Who the heck thinks that's okay? Oh, my God. And then I heard this medical student, young guy, earnest, sincere guy, not bright, just repeating back what he was told. He said, the kind of mercury that's in the vaccine, that's not the bad mercury. This is what he told me. It's not the bad kind of mercury. Like, there's a good kind of mercury. I didn't even know where I could go with that. But that's the kind of thinking that we have. And I must admit, I watch to keep up with current events, to keep up with the narrative, what they're trying to tell me. I listen to the news, and they're trying to tell us that there's going to be a vaccine, and it's going to be really good for you. This new vaccine, is, as I've been talking about, is a genetic vaccine, by the way, with genes that produce viruses and viral particles and bacterial particles. Oh, my God. They used to stick the poison right in. Now they get the cell to make the poison for us. This is what the new vaccines do. They used to just put the poison into the system to freak the system out so it mounts an immune response. That's bad enough. Now, I'm laughing, but it's not funny. They stick genes in you, and the genes make the poison for them. This is craziness, utter craziness. There is no way on God's green earth that is good for you. And what kind of feeble mind believes it is? Now, I should say the ones who are crafting it, they're not dumb. Obviously, they're smart, but they just have this, I don't know what they're missing. We had a guy on a couple weeks ago, and I did not support him. I got all kinds of heat from that, where he talked about vaccines. I wanted everybody to hear about vaccines, and I was trying to be polite to him. I didn't want to be confrontational or anything, but he was really all about it. He said measles. That was his success story, was measles. As if, measles kills, measles can kill you. But that's not a reason to be vaccinated. You don't want to be vaccinated against all the things that can possibly kill you. That's not how it works. But we're told that's how it works. And so when you hear about a vaccine, you hear this idea that it's like a force field, this magical field that viruses bounce off of. That's the messaging. And it's all over the place. And I know people who are intelligent people. I respect their intelligence in the sense that they answer my questions when I have questions, and I go to them for certain questions. Chemists, mostly. And I had one guy say to me, I'm not going to fly until they stick a needle in my arm. He literally said that to me. I'm not going to go flying until they have a needle they can stick in my arm. He wants it. And that's the kind of craziness that we have. So anyway, why a vaccine won't be a quick fix for COVID-19? That's putting it mildly. It's not a quick fix. That's putting it mildly. First of all, it's going to take a while to get a really successful vaccine. You don't just usually you have to test these things. These aren't even being tested. We're the test. We're the guinea pig. All right. Craziness. We live in a crazy world. Build your immune system. Fat-soluble vitamins, especially. Vitamin D is another one that's getting a lot of press as having protective effects. Again, from Medscape, vitamin D deficiency may boost COVID-19 risk. Of course it does. Of course it does. It says may, because they're grudgingly admitting, and you don't need a study to say it. You don't need to be tested to. You don't need to have this was a study on 489 University of Chicago School of Medicine patients. They used I don't know if they used students or they used actual patients, whatever. 489 people came in, and they tested them, blah, blah, blah. They tested their status. They tested they weighted against COVID-19 positivity, and they found that there was a relationship between positivity and deficiency. No kidding. Vitamin D is an incredibly important immune system vitamin. Another article in the same journal. Vitamin D, a low-hanging fruit in COVID-19. Yes, it's a low-hanging fruit. But that doesn't mean that it's like a drug. That's not how these nutrients work. They don't work like drugs. They work in harmony, in concert. They work with other things, with other nutrients. Vitamin D works with vitamin K. Vitamin D and vitamin K work together with vitamin E. and vitamin A. All the fatty nutrients work together. And, of course, the water-soluble nutrients as well. So you can't really assess the value of a nutrient with these you can't always assess the value of the nutrients with these one-off studies where they just take one supplement or one nutrient because they all work together. Nonetheless, that being said, vitamin D is so darn fundamental and important that you would do well just to focus on vitamin D. And I'm not talking about supplementing because that is not, in my opinion, that's not the best way to get your vitamin D. Now they use ridiculously high doses of vitamin D, and they use it medicinally, and there are some people that benefit, but you really don't want to get to a point where you're taking super high doses of a vitamin, in my humble opinion. All right, 844-236-6010. Let's go to our friend Bob, who's always got something interesting to say here. If I can, you know what? There's Bob. Computer's not cooperating, so hang on here, Bob. There we go. What's up, Bob?
Hey there, Ben.
How's it going?
Speaking of antioxidants.
Yes, sir.
The other day in the podcast, you mentioned that toxins, when you take multiple drugs, that they combine exponentially in the negative effect on the body.
Toxins? I said they exponentially? I used the word exponentially?
Yeah, I used the word exponentially.
I'm not sure. I think that's out of context. That doesn't sound right. But go ahead. What's your point? Because we only got a few seconds.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It compounds itself more than just additively. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
What about,
I buy that.
What about the packet of antioxidants that you mentioned prior, like 4 different supplements that work together?
Do those give you exponential benefits? Are you asking?
Do you get more bang for your buck by taking all 4 together?
Absolutely. Antioxidants all work together. That's a great question, Bob. Thank you. You always got good things to say. You should have called me earlier, though. All right. Take care, Bob. We got Steven Sinatra coming up at the bottom of the hour. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll be back after this. We're back on the bright side. Pharmacist Ben here. I thought I'd have Dr. Sinatra, but I can't get Dr. Sinatra, and I'm very disappointed. Meantime, we do have calls, and we'll get to those. 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. Don't forget to take a look at our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com. Never any preservatives, fragrances, fillers, waxes, emulsifiers, preservatives, water, silicone, vegetable oil, nothing your skin does not need and doesn't want. In any of our Truth Skin Health products, all formulated in my compounding pharmacy for healing wounds. Healing wounds is the same biochemistry as beautifying the skin. That's why we say healing is beauty. It's all about upregulation. When we get old, we downregulate. When we're young and healthy and strong, we're upregulating. Health is upregulation, building things, making things happen. And that's what healing is, and that's what beauty is. And that's what our Truth Skin Health products do. They upregulate cell chemistry. They're all available at truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. And don't forget to take a look at our longevity products at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. All right. I got a couple calls here, and I want to get to those. And I was going to have Steven Sinatra on, and I'm so sorry. I teased that because he was supposed to be on. But we'll see if we can get him on some other time. He is definitely one of my heroes, one of my nutritional heroes, and I've been studying his work for many years. Metabolic Cardiology. You're going to hear more about metabolic diseases over the coming years. Metabolic cancer is now a big thing, which I've been saying for years. It's all about metabolism, folks. Upregulation, becoming anabolic, in the black versus in the red. That's what, as I like to say. Being in the black is when you're anabolic. Being in the red is when you're catabolic. You're always both, but net anabolic, net catabolic. And net catabolic and net anabolic equals net metabolism. Metabolism is you're either net anabolic or net catabolic. Net buildup or net breakdown. Net in the black or net in the red. Bottom line. All right. Rick in Michigan, what's going on? Welcome to the bright side.
Well, thanks for getting me on, Ben. I'm disappointed as you are that Dr. Sinatra, for whatever reason, can't come on today.
Yeah, I'm bummed. So, you know who he is?
When I heard he was coming on, I just leaped because
I know. I was really excited. So you know his work, apparently.
I do, and I'm a longtime listener of yours.
Great.
And I'm kind of a collector of books, leaning
Oh,
towards
yeah, I
natural
knew
health.
that. I knew you were out there, Rick. I knew people that were out there, like not calling, because I don't have any way who knows who's listening. But I knew that because there'd be people like me who collect and who just accumulate data. Are you a healthcare professional or just a consumer?
No, I'm just an individual who believes in taking charge of their own health. Something
Love it,
you
Rick.
preach
Love
day
it.
in, day out.
That's
and
awesome.
His book, he is my hero. No, I have maybe 6 or 7 books from cardiologists.
Yeah.
Specifically related to cardiology type topics.
Yeah.
And out of everything I've read and studied, he jumps out. His work
Yeah, he does.
It's the best. Now, the one I have is Reverse Heart Disease Now.
Yeah.
This book.
Yeah.
It might even seem a little dated because
it might be, but it's not, because he was on the cutting edge. Now it's a little dated because, like I was, right? He was on the leading edge of that stuff, of energetics, of understanding the importance of energetics for all cells, but the heart is obviously the most energetic in the body, is utilizing the most energy. So it's very dependent on coenzyme Q10 and carnitine. In fact, that's one of the first systems that benefit, and his skin too.
And
by
not
the way.
only that, he provides a list in the book of the new cardiology blood work.
That's right.
That you and I and everyone else, because I use an independent, it's called walk-in lab, a lab that you can walk into, order your own blood test. You don't have to go through. And
is it a chain?
I've hit everything on his list, and he covers the things that you mentioned there.
Yeah,
like
that's right.
Coenzyme Q10. He makes sure to watch iron, your oxidized LDL.
ATP. He talks about ATP and ribose and using energy nutrients, and he's brilliant. Now, what do you do? What kind of work do you do?
Well, believe it or not, I'm in the financial business.
Oh, you are?
Yes, but I make it a study of natural health. I
love it.
I have a regular pharmacy that if you looked at a couple of kitchen cupboards dedicated to various key supplements in every area, you'd be really impressed, even you.
Where are you out of?
Michigan.
Where in Michigan?
And out of Midland, Michigan.
I don't know. Is that
you ever come up to Michigan? I think.
Is that the UP, as they say? Is that the UP?
No, that is right in the middle of Michigan. It would be home of Dow Chemical Company.
Oh, great.
Big Fortune 500. Right in the middle of the mitten.
Silicone. They're big into the silicone business.
Well, there's a lot of health-conscious people around here.
Are there in Michigan?
Believe it or not, there is.
I don't want to find it hard to believe. That is that's the belly of the beast. That's the belly of the beast.
Well, we're that way in every way, too, politically, everything. It's a mission field around here, but there are key people. But
you got to have a certain mindset to live in Michigan, though, because it's like it gets you down. It's gloomy in Michigan.
Well, the good thing about it is, with the 4 seasons and all the water, the Great Lakes, the rivers, it's 4 seasons of outdoor activity that's second to none. My brother just got back from a trip to Alaska to do a fly-in fishing trip, and he says, I'll never leave again. He says, it's better right where I'm at here.
Okay. There's sort of comfort. There is kind of it's definitely beautiful. Parts of it are very, very beautiful. And I can see what you're saying. There's something kind of comforting about it. You definitely have a lot of...
The Great Lakes are so wonderful. And then the river systems and all the other lakes.
Yeah, right. I totally get it.
In the outdoors.
Totally get that.
All the time. But for your listeners, the book, Reverse Heart Disease Now by Dr. Steven Sinatra, is something they can get because it's a tool that they can read and follow. And for themselves, walk through all the key factors to evaluate yourself and the natural things to follow up on every little test that might be above normal, to deal with it in the way that you would, Ben. So he's my hero. When he comes back,
I'm glad you called, Rick. That's awesome. That was an awesome call. Thanks so much. Have a great day out there in Midland, Michigan.
Yep. Keep up the good work.
Thank you for appreciating it. I appreciate you. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. 844-236-6010. Let's say good morning to Mark in Alaska. What's going on, Mark?
Nothing much, but that gentleman talking about negatively about Alaska, I don't like that.
Who was talking negative about Alaska?
No, I was just saying he was making a comment that Michigan was better than Alaska. No way, how.
Okay. Alaska's pretty darn. Alaska's amazing, man. Absolutely amazing. That's not even. That's from another dimension or another planet or something. I'm serious. That's amazing country. There's no words to describe that. It's magnificent.
Definitely.
Yeah. Where in Alaska?
A bit.
Where are you?
I'm in Fairbanks. Fairbanks,
Pretty much
right in the center of the state.
Yeah. I went to Anchorage. I went to Alaska a couple years ago, and I went to Anchorage, and I noticed that like you don't wait in line for anything in Alaska, or at least very long. You know.
No.
It's like you go to the bank, you're the only person that goes to the bank in the bank, right? You go to grocery stores, like 10 people in this entire grocery store. All right, hang on, Mark. Don't go away. Got to take a break, okay?
Thank you.
All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben, 844-236-6010. We'll get to your calls. And then, sorry about Dr. Sinatra, but maybe we'll get him on some other time. All right, we'll be back on the bright side right after this. Pharmacist Ben here, and we did get a call from apparently Dr. Sinatra, and we had a big mix-up here. So we're going to see if we can get him back on. I don't want to rush things through. I apologize to anybody who's expecting Dr. Sinatra, but we're talking to Mark in Alaska, and so far, you're just as good, Mark. You're just as entertaining. Yeah, Mark?
Thank you.
No, I don't know about that. I'm exaggerating. But anyway, Fairbanks and Anchorage and Alaska in general, and Wasilla. I went to Wasilla. Just so beautiful. Just amazingly beautiful. And I encourage everybody to at least check it out. If you're a U.S. citizen, you have to check out this probably the most magnificent state in the United States, I think. And there are a few other ones that are pretty magnificent, but it's right up there. That's for sure. So what's going on? How can we help you?
Well, I wanted to get your opinion on MCT oil. What you think about them? And,
I'm a fan. We used to use in the pharmacy. I used to work in pediatrics and neonatal ICU as a pharmacist at University Hospital. And University Hospital is well known in the area for being a regional GI facility, gastrointestinal facility for people who had GI diseases like celiac and Crohn's. And I really got to see how the medical model completely does not understand digestive health. But one of the things they did do that was correct when babies had gallbladder issues or liver issues is they would give them MCT oil, because MCT oil is a way to get energy quickly into your body without having to process it. It's not stored as fat like other sources of energy. It's burnt preferentially. It's a neat way to restore energy to the body and to get energy to the body without a lot of processing. As you know, if you listen to me on the show, fats are typically hard for the body to process, right? Mm-hmm. Watery stuff. Have you heard me say this? I don't know how long you've been listening to the program, but I talk about this all the time, that watery nutrients are easy for the body to process, but readily eliminated. Fat stuff, fat nutrients are harder to process, but they're stored. So there's kind of like you need them both, and they both have their ups and their downs. They both have benefits. They both have things they have to pay attention to. We'll put it that way. And MCT is kind of both. MCT is kind of sorta watery, kind of sorta. I said kind of sorta. I don't mean it's watery. Kind of sorta. You know what I'm saying? It's on a spectrum.
Nice.
It's on a continuum. Right? So it's because it has that kind of watery nature, that gives it a very interesting quality, and it makes it much easier for the body to process than, say, a saturated fat or even an unsaturated fat, for that matter, or a fatty vitamin or a fat that's in food. We got Dr. Sinatra, but I don't want to give him just 5 minutes here. But all right, maybe we will. Mark, I'm going to see if we get. Okay, good to talk to you, Mark. Okay,
thank you.
I guess we got Dr. Sinatra. I'm not sure what happened here, but we'll just put him on. We'll put him on the air right here. Hey, Dr. Sinatra.
Yeah, hi, how are you?
I'm great, but you know what? I've been a fan of yours for so many years and reading your work for so many years. I got so many questions, and when I thought you weren't going to be on, I had a guy call me up and other people, I'm sure, because I was plugging you the whole program. I don't want to give you like 3 minutes. Can we get you back on it?
Oh, that's okay. Hey, listen, in this day and age, everything is fine, right?
Okay, good. I'm glad you're on the same page. I can't really hear you. Can we pot him up, or can you speak into the phone a little louder, Doc?
Sure. How about now?
Oh, that's much better. Yeah, so we were talking, I read your book on metabolic cardiology many years ago, and I've been talking about the metabolic nature of disease for many years, and you're one of the first guys that I really dove into with the heart, with the energetics of the heart. And I was talking on the air before you got on, we were saying how you were on the cutting edge of that, and now it's almost like it's more routine, this idea of metabolic disease. You understand what we're talking about here? You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I used to go to the, major medical conferences years ago, and nobody was talking about mitochondrial function and heart disease. I mean, nobody. I was.
Can you speak into the phone? Speak into the phone, Doc. You're saying some great stuff here. I want everybody to hear.
Yeah. In other words, 10 years ago when I was at conferences, nobody could understand mitochondrial function. Now it's mainstream. There's like 11,000 articles in the medical literature now. It's amazing.
Yeah, and you were one of the first guys to talk about that, and I just wanted to let you know I'm a huge fan. I quote you all the time. I quote your books all the time, and and my listeners as well. Based on what I had a guy call me up and say, "Hey, I've been following Sinatra for so many years," and anyway, you're doing great work. And I wanted to talk about CoQ10, and I wanted to talk about magnesium. I want to talk about it vis-a-vis COVID. And I want to talk about a lot of things because COVID, in a lot of ways, is a cardiovascular issue, as I'm sure you know.
Oh, God, absolutely.
Right, so many things to talk about here, but can we get you on again? Can we schedule you to come on again?
Reschedule, no problem. I mean, get in touch with Ryan or my secretary, Joanne, and it's absolutely no problem. I mean, the next couple of weeks, I'm good.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, now, another thing, apparently you're quite the entrepreneur, Dr. Sinatra. I had no idea. So tell us a little bit about, especially the animal products that you got.
Oh, Ageless Paws, yeah, I used CoQ10 in my dogs for years, and my dogs, they outlived their counterparts by 2 to 3 years. I had 2 chows and a Norwegian Elkhound, and since I used CoQ10 in my patients, I naturally gave it to my dogs. They had a great outcome, and now I give CoQ10 to animals, and I spoke to vets about this, many vets. And, cardiomyopathy and congestive heart failure is one of the major reasons why older animals, perish. So it makes sense to give these dogs, especially older dogs, CoQ10 because, remember, if you're eating a lot of older animals or dog foods or dehydrated foods, they're not getting enough CoQ10 in their diet. So it just makes sense to give a dog CoQ10.
Would you say CoQ10 is conditionally essential for a dog?
Yes, I would. Certainly. I mean, in my experience, I have to tell you, and dogs are so important in healing of patients. I mean, the most important thing about an animal, especially a dog, it gives you unconditional love. And this is so important for healing the heart, especially in patients with heart failure or, heart attack or bypass surgery. They need unconditional love, and I'll tell you, a 4-legged friend is numero uno. There's no doubt about that.
I love it. It activates the parasympathetic. It stimulates oxytocin and bonding. They give them for PTSD, for anxiety and that kind of thing. Yeah. So that's interesting what you just said, though. Do you see a connection between the spiritual heart and the physical heart? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I mean, the heart is where it all comes together. And when I wrote my book, Health Revelations from Heaven and Earth, when Tommy Rosa went to heaven and back in a car accident, he actually told me when he was in heaven that the ultimate number one reaction or stabilization was love. I mean, love heals everything, and that's what was preached in heaven by Jesus Christ. So
praise God.
That's beautiful. Amazing.
That's beautiful. I'm so glad to hear you say that because I see that as well. There's spiritual analogs to our physical bodies in a sense, and when we're sick, it's like a reflection of what's happening at a higher level in a certain way. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Listen. I got the angelic chill on that one. Yeah. In other words, when our spiritual, physical, and emotional energies are out of line. Yeah. In other words, when they're not synchronous in the body, we get sick. And I believe that one of the reasons why we get sick is on a spiritual side, physical illness is meant to redirect our spiritual energies on the right track.
It's like a focal point, like you have a heart issue, you have a love issue. You want to start focusing on that kind of thing.
Sickness can be a gift in disguise. It can be a gift.
That's beautiful.
People have to realize that sometimes.
That's beautiful. Well, who knew, Dr. Sinatra? I didn't know you were going to tap into that today. That's great. I should have known because God is energy. And you're talking about the energetics. That's basically what God is energy, no?
Exactly. Yeah, it's energy, and if you can take in that energy in healing, it's absolutely incredible. I mean,
so you're right in line with energy. Go ahead.
Yeah, the most important thing in healing the heart is actually energy. In other words, whether you laugh or cry or pray or meditate, all these forms of energy raise the vibration of the body. And whenever you raise the vibration, you go into a healing state. That's actually my next book.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Hey, Doctor, we got to have you back. We're going to have you back on. I'll call Ryan. We'll figure something out.
You figure it out, and I'll be available to you. I love your questions, by the way. These are great questions. I love questions that go to the highest level.
I love it. We're going to have a good time. Thank you so much, Dr. Sinatra. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks so much. God bless.
All right. Take care. All right. That was cool. That's Dr. Steven Sinatra. We'll definitely have him back on. I had no idea, although I should have known, that he had all that other stuff going on. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for listening to The Bright Side. Our website's brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com. For the longevity products and True Skin Health products can be had at truthtreatments.com. Have a beautiful, awesome, wonderful, spectacular day. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll talk to you later. Bye for now.